So I'm currently sitting here in Cartagena in the coast of Colombia, and no, I'm not on some vacation with my parents right now. This is the life that I've lived over the last 2.5, almost 3 years at this point, where I used to travel wherever I want in the entire world. I take sales calls from my laptop, talking to strangers, and I make between $30,000 to $45,000 per month doing so. I'm right now 23 years old, from Sweden. I want to explain to you in this video exactly how I got to this point, my backstory, what I actually do to make this type of money, and also how you can get into this if you want to do the same thing for yourself as well. Because right now there's a massive opportunity in the space that I'm in, where there's a lot of demand for the role that I do, that you can actually tap into yourself as well if you know how to do things in the right way. So first of all, it's a quick backstory, like who am I? I'm a Swedish guy. Like I said, I came from a pretty small town like north of Stockholm, where I grew up, and had parents like very normal and like working class parents, whatever you want to call it, making like 5K a month. And what got me to start entrepreneurship, trying to make money online, because I just hated the Swedish winters. You know, always from a young age I had a desire to just do something different. You know, I never saw myself taking the traditional path. So obviously, as most people, probably yourself watching this, if you're someone who has ambitions of making it big, you go online, you see people like selling courses, mentorships, living in Dubai and things like that. I saw these guys, bought some courses, tried to learn like an agency. That's kind of where my journey started. You know, when I was in high school, you know, last years of high school back in Sweden, trying to figure out my life, I bought a course on how to do like a marketing agency. So that's basically running Facebook ads for local businesses, helping them get more clients. Got into that. I was like, this is gonna be the business model that's gonna get me rich, get me out of my parents' house, allow me to start traveling and be able to make $1 million a month, or 1 million Swedish crowns, which is basically 100K a month. That was my goal at the time, which obviously did not end up happening at all, but it gave me a lot of insights. So basically what happened, I did the agency, got into that, and I signed up so many clients. I was just on sales calls, I did cold calling, I just loved the sales part, signed up a bunch of people, but I couldn't run the business. Like the clients I was getting didn't get results at all, because I was just super new. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea about business. My mindset was all fucked, everything like that. But at least I took some actions. I took action on my goals, which is like separate me from which most people never do, to be honest. Most guys never take action on anything. But I took action, which led me forward, you know? So then what happened is I got to a point where I started doing that, was still living at home with my parents, still didn't make any money. Like I made like $500, 1K per month from the agency. So nowhere near enough to actually move out and have the lifestyle I wanted to. Went on for some time, started losing money eventually with the agency because my clients were getting results, they were leaving me. I was like, shit, I need to figure this shit out. I need to find something I can do to actually leave my parents' house, because I was getting so freaking tired. At this point I was like 18, 19 of living at home, and the big reason for that, because I just didn't resonate with and no hate towards my parents or family or anything. I love them, like with all of my heart. I love my family, but their beliefs and like how they view the world, and like them being 9-to-5ers and having a very kind of limited view on the world, definitely like affected me. I didn't like that at all, because I have still obviously very big goals. I hate, like honestly, I'm just driven by an absolute hate of mediocrity. Like when I think about living a mediocre life, I'm just like scared of the idea overall of being 60, 70 years old and not having the life that I want for myself, and not like being able to do the things I want for my kids, for my future wife, like being able to having to settle for like a just mid-life overall. That's my biggest fear. That's what drove me since start. And yeah, I don't know where that comes from exactly with my upbringing, but that's, maybe you resonate with this, I don't know, but that's what's driven me since the start of my journey. And being at home with my parents, with my family, where I grew up, that was kind of what I was surrounded by, you know, and I just hated that. So that's why I really wanted to get out. And the agency also allowed me to do that. The agency was just, I was super spread thin. I didn't know like what to focus on. I did so many different skills I was learning. So that's why I got to a point where actually I hopped on a sales call and talked with this guy who was doing the business model that I am now doing, which is called high ticket sales. I talked to this guy who was a high ticket sales rep, who was basically selling this coaching program for an influencer who was teaching how to do an agency, how to grow your agency. You know, so I was hopping on this call, booking this call to basically have his help to help me make more money with the agency. Ended up talking with the sales rep, had the call, didn't end up buying. I gave him some BS objection on that call, to be honest. The guy on the call, he gave me these insights, because I realized this guy was, I think he was in, the guy was in Mexico, I think, or actually he was in Colombia, one of those two places, I can't remember. But he's like, he was traveling, he was making like 15, 20, 25K a month, somewhere around there, and he was like same age as me. So you got me thinking after that call, it's like, this guy, he's not running an agency. He's not running his own business. He's taking Zoom calls with guys like myself, closing deals, traveling, having freedom, and doing everything that I wanted to do without everything that I did not want to do, which is like running a business, running ads, and having to deal with clients and learning 10 different skills. That's kind of when things clicked for me. I was like, shit, this guy is focusing on one single thing, something that I'm already good at, which is sales. I like talking to people. Big shift happened right there. I was like, okay, what if I shut down my agency and I go all in on learning one single skill? I started thinking to myself, can I actually get me the freedom? Can I actually get me to the long-term goals that I had of actually having my own business in the future? Started analyzing, and I stayed very stuck during this time is over-analyzing, to be honest. I should have taken quicker action looking back at it. But anyways, analyzed a lot, talked with my mentors, try to figure out, should I do this? Is this the right thing to do? I was scared to take action, and I had this big ego of like, I don't want to give up on my agency dreams, you know, of having my own business from the start. Eventually I realized, okay, like this is not working out. I'm still at home with my parents. It was starting to get colder. It was like getting towards the end of that summer. So I was like, shit, I need to figure my shit out. I need to make this work. And that's when I got into sales. I made the decision. I let go of the agency, dropped the agency completely, just closed it down. At that point, I didn't only have a couple of active clients anyway, and I made pretty much no money from it. So I shut that down, got into sales, got a mentor, started paying one of the guys who was coach or teaching me sales within that program that I was in, the agency program, to teach me how to do sales and get really good, get good enough to actually land one of these high ticket sales roles for an influencer to start working with. And I found this guy through his network. I got connections from this mentor that I paid with an influencer who had a program teaching how to do Airbnb. So like an Airbnb coaching program, helping people and like 9-to-5ers to make money online with Airbnb. And after having an interview, I showed up with that interview with extreme conviction, extreme confidence in myself. I've been putting in some training with my mentor. I was able to luckily land that role and came into that company. Guys were making like 10, 15, 20K a month. I came in there, didn't know what I was doing whatsoever because I was still very brand new in this industry. Came in there, but I started making 4K my first month, and then I think around 6K my second month. So I quickly started making like way more money than I ever made before. And that was a big lesson right there, is just realizing that when you focus on one skill and you go into a business that's already successful, you kind of skip past having to make all the mistakes your own. Because I came in a company, like they were already making money, everything's already in place. Closers were closing deals, I just came in as an appointment setter, started like these booking calls on the calendar, and everything was just like falling into place. I finally started like seeing the path to the goal of making 10K a month because the business was successful. I did not need to figure out marketing and the fulfillment and the product and everything was already in place. I just had to come in and just do my role and do it well and build and focus on my skill. And that was a big breakthrough right there. I remember it's like that feeling of closing that first or like having that first call that I booked in as an appointment setter get closed, getting my first commission. And I was like, shit, like I actually have something that's working right. I can actually see this getting to 10K a month. And it was pretty quick success as well, because in sales, like you start making money right away. You don't have to work or wait like a year, like in trading or this other business model, so like the agency that I was in before. So that's where everything started. And I just stuck to that path. I was like, shit, this is actually something I really enjoy. I got this passion for learning the skill, and I really like taking the sales calls. I just wanted to get better, invest into more training to go from being a seller into being a closer. Biggest transition that took me from being like a 4 to 8K per month appointment setter to then getting into closing and hitting my first 10K per month in 3 months was learning how to properly lead people. You know, in sales, it's a lot about who you are as a person. I had to kind of level up and break my own limiting beliefs, change who I was as a person, how I make decisions myself, level up my own standards, and that's how I went from like 5-10K per month remote sales rep and doing appointment setting into a closer where I hit my first 10, 12, 15K a month and started making more. So I worked on a couple of different offers. Did an Airbnb offer, did a fitness offer, did a B2B offer, and I made other videos about the offers I've been on, and like you can even see my sales calls. I have this whole free course that I made if you want to look at that after this, below this video. But anyways, I started growing in this industry. Started working with these really big influencers, became the top rep on these different teams, hit my first $15,000-$20,000 per month, and the industry changed my life. That's when I left, or before this, when I like literally my first month of being an appointment setter, I left my hometown in Sweden, went to Medellin, Colombia, where I lived for some time, locked in, grew my skill set, got better, started making more money, and it gives you that like sense of security, you know, gives you that like real confidence when you know you have a skill no one can take away from you. It gives you money, it makes you valuable, and puts you in a position where you never have to go broke again, never have to worry about money again. That was the biggest thing it gave me, because when I had the agency before, when I was doing drop shipping and trading and everything else I was doing before, it was always this like, can I actually make money? If this client leaves me, am I gonna be successful? If this store that I'm building right now doesn't perform, if this ads doesn't work out, what's gonna happen? But with sales, it was never that. I just knew when I started closing deals, I just knew that this skill no one can take away from me. I have this skill inside of me that just makes me valuable. And that's giving me so much peace of mind. And the funny thing is, this was pretty like early in the high ticket sales kind of industry, you know, and still at this point right now in 2026, 2027, the high ticket sales space is just growing like so quickly. People think that it's getting saturated. Couldn't be further from the truth. Like there's more and more and more influencers that are making so much money, helping beginners and helping and teaching their knowledge to other people. This industry of the e-learning industry, which we're working in when you're doing high ticket sales, it's growing massively. What does it mean? It means that there's massive demand. There's actually never been more demand than there is right now. It's becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry, the space of doing high ticket sales, which means that there's a lot of demand for sales reps, like myself, like maybe you're watching this video right now if you have interest in this. So understand, like right now what I'm seeing, and it's funny thing because right now I'm in a position where I've worked my way up through doing appointment setting, getting into closing, where you actually take the calls yourself, you close deals on behalf of a business. And now over the last year and a half, I started doing sales management, where I'm the guy managing these offers for these influencers. I run the sales team, I hire people, I fire people, I train the team, I run the entire sales department. So I see this firsthand that there's so much demand right now. Every single offer that I manage, we need sales reps. We need good people that are actually hungry and driven, that want to come into the space and actually work and do high ticket sales. And we happily pay those people commissions of like 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K on the teams that I manage right now. So there's this massive demand right now, but the issue is that there's a lack of people that actually have this like drive and commitment to getting good at the skill. We're actually serious about putting in the work. Most people nowadays, they are super easily distracted. They can't focus on something for more than like a day. They have this extreme shiny object syndrome, and they're just looking for the shortcuts. So that's kind of like the gap that exists in the marketplace right now. It's a beautiful place to be in if you're someone watching this right now. You're actually serious about putting in some solid effort, and you actually want to get into this and start making money for yourself. Is that if you can just focus on learning the high ticket sales skill set in the right way, and then landing on these businesses to work with, there's so much demand. There's actually never been more opportunity in the space than there is right now. And that's why my income has been able to go up and up and every single month. Obviously, it's been a lot of work that I've done in terms of my mindset, in terms of overcoming fear of taking action. It's like going for my goals and being able to, as a result of that, go from setting into closing. Going from closing, I had to be obviously the top performer, be really good as a closer. I was taking thousands of sales calls, thousands of one-on-one conversations, over and over again. I invested over $40,000 into mentorship, into coaching to get to the point where I'm at today, and been the top performer on multiple different offers to build a network where I now get the chance to manage some of the biggest teams in this industry and hire, train, and all that stuff for these offers. So it's been the entire year that I went through. So the takeaway I want you to hopefully see from this is that you can do this too. Like I started off as a Swedish guy with heavy accent. I still have a lot of people tell me I have a heavy accent still, which maybe I guess I do. And very insecure, very introverted, but I made this happen because I stuck to the path. And I just picked a business model that was simple, focus on learning one skill and just go deeper and deeper on that one skill. And the biggest thing overall, I wasn't scared to take action. I wasn't scared to look stupid. So hopefully that can be a takeaway for you if you're like a young, especially if you're from like Scandinavia or from anywhere in Europe really, like let go of the idea that your accent is gonna hold you back. It's not. If anything, I see usually Europeans and especially Scandinavians do extremely well in high ticket sales because they're very direct. But also yes, let go of the idea that you're just gonna like analyze your way to success. Success requires you to take uncomfortable action, take massive action. That is always scary to do. Change comes when you just do stuff. If I wouldn't have started the agency, I wouldn't have learned that sales was something that I like doing, and I wouldn't have gone into high ticket sales. If I didn't start off as an appointment setter and just buy that mentorship from the guy who taught me sales, I would not be closing, and I wouldn't become a sales manager if I wouldn't have went all in and gotten more training. So you always move forward by just taking action on what's in front of you and just like doing the thing that's most scary to do right now, which for you is probably just like taking that first step and just starting something. So I want to just honestly just root for you to take this first step, whatever you decide to do. Just take that first step, take action and like do something. And I promise you, taking action is going to lead you forward towards your goal. You can get into high ticket sales if you want, and if you want my help with that, you can apply for my mentorship down below. I have over 100 guys inside of there to learn this skill properly, get placed into roles, because I have a big network that I've obviously built over the last couple of years. So if you want to get placed into roles, get trained properly to actually land those roles as well, and actually start making that 5-10K a month, and if you're serious, if you're someone who can actually commit, you can apply, book a call with me, and I'll see if I can help you out on my end. But regardless, I hope this was valuable, seeing my story and how I got to this point. And like I said, I'm rooting for you. I know that if I could do this, get to the point where I had this freedom that I dreamt of back in the day, there's no reason why you can do the exact same thing for yourself. So start today, take action, and I'll see you at the top. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll see you as always tomorrow in the next video. Ciao!